Campaigning in Nevada, former President Donald Trump has been claiming, with no evidence, that undocumented immigrants are, quote, taking over our country from within. He has bemoaned the state of affairs in Springfield, Ohio, due to a mass influx of Haitian immigrants, but hasn't repeated his debate claim that Haitians are stealing dogs and cats in the town to eat them. That completely baseless allegation has created major problems in Springfield, where bomb threats forced the closure of City Hall and the cancellation of school. CNN's Elena Trine joining us now from Las Vegas. And Elena, just a few moments ago, Donald Trump was asked about those threats.
He was, Jessica. He briefly made a stop at the Las Vegas Police Protective Association, where he thanked local law enforcement, and he made false claims about Kamala Harris having no support from law enforcement in this country. But what I found interesting and what you just mentioned is that a reporter had asked him toward the end whether he denounces the bomb threats reported at schools in Springfield, Ohio, that have led to 2 consecutive days of school closures. I want you to take a listen to his response.
Do you denounce the bomb threats in Springfield, Ohio?
I don't know what happened with the bomb threats. I know that it's been taken over by illegal migrants, and that's a terrible thing that happened. Springfield was this beautiful town, and now they're going through hell. It's a sad thing. Not going to happen with me, I can tell you right now.
Now, Jessica, a couple things I want to break down there. One is that he claimed that the city has been taken over by illegal immigrants, but we know that the surge of Haitian migrants in Springfield, that most of them are actually here legally and they have temporary protective status. The other part of that, though, is that he claimed he doesn't know anything about these bomb threats. However, on Friday, during a press conference in Los Angeles, a reporter asked him specifically about these bomb threats. He dismissed the claims and then went on to say that actually the bigger problem is immigration. Now, I want to be very clear here about these claims about these migrants taking pets and eating them. We have now heard from the mayor of Springfield, the police chief of the city, as well as the Republican governor of Ohio, all of them saying that there is no evidence to support these claims that both Donald Trump and his running mate continue to promote. We actually heard Donald Trump first bring it up publicly at the debate earlier this week, but they have continued to talk about this. Now, when I talk to advisors close to Donald Trump and people, some of his allies, they argue that even if these rumors end up being untrue, proven false, they say at least people are talking about them. So keep that in mind. It really is trying to play into that rhetoric we have become so accustomed to about Donald Trump trying to stoke fear about undocumented immigrants in this country. Jessica?
All right, Elena Trine reporting on the trail in Las Vegas. Thank you so much for that. Joining us now is CNN senior political analyst and senior editor at The Atlantic, Ron Brownstein. Ron, good to see you. I know you have written extensively about the issue of immigration. What do you make of Springfield, Ohio, becoming this flashpoint in this issue right now?
Well, look, I think it is giving Americans a very clear preview of what a second Trump term would be like in multiple respects. The winking at violence that we saw in that answer, without a clear denunciation of these bomb threats, similar to the message he is sending with his promises to pardon some of the January 6th rioters, and his declarations that they've been treated very unfairly. And then it is also a reminder that even though we have not really been discussing it very much, in part because there wasn't a real Republican primary, contested Republican primary, he is running on a much more militant and aggressive agenda than he did in 2020 or 2016 on a lot of issues, but especially immigration, where he is talking about mass deportation of millions of people, complete with internment camps, and using the National Guard from red states to be deployed into blue states, as well as, deputizing large numbers of federal law enforcement. And the last piece I think that the Springfield story tells us is that there is effectively no resistance in the Republican Party if he wants to move down this road. Even though the governor, Mike DeWine, has said these, charges from J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are baseless, he has empretzeled himself to avoid criticizing them for making these accusations in the first place, even though the real world consequences of those accusations are becoming scarier by the day.
Yeah. It is ironic that immigration is an issue we have seen over and over again that Americans are concerned about. They want some direction and answers. It could be a real winning issue for the former president. It is a vulnerability for Vice President Harris, for the Biden administration. And yet, he's talking about all of this instead of, he could just stick to the facts and potentially have a real argument on merits that he could make to people and let them decide. It is ironic he chooses to go way over here.
Yeah, I've been writing about public opinion about immigration since Prop 187 in California in 1994, which was the famous ballot initiative to deny public service to undocumented immigrants. And public opinion is remarkably consistent. They want order at the border. They want the laws to be respected, but they are also practical and humane. There has consistently been majority support for allowing people who have been here for an extended period of time, who have not committed any crime, to transition to legal status at some point. The discontent over Biden's management of the border has increased support in the public for some of these more draconian solutions that Trump is putting forward. But it's not at all clear that support would be sustained once you had images of, mothers with U.S. citizen children kind of reaching beyond barbed wire in internment camps. In the story that I wrote for CNN.com the other day, Jeffrey Passel of Pew calculated that 1/4 of all Hispanics in the U.S. are in families of mixed status, where some people are here legally and some people are not. The sweep of this kind of deportation that they're talking about could be enormous and disruptive. Like, what is it? A fifth of agricultural workers, roughly a sixth of manufacturing workers, and 1 out of 12 service workers are undocumented. Removing all of those people from the economy at once, as Trump is talking about, most economists say is a great risk of reigniting inflation.
I also want to ask you about your latest piece for The Atlantic, in which you write that Harris may have won the debate against Trump, but she didn't do enough to convince voters that she's better for the economy than former President Trump. How does she convince them of that? Yeah. Does she have enough time to make that case now?
She certainly has the time, but I think she has to make a more concentrated case than she has. Whether it was the convention speech or that first question, that kind of core, are you better off than you were 4 years ago question at the debate, she's leaned into her middle class identity, basically saying, I am from the middle class, so I will defend the middle class. And she's kind of chewed up all the time she's had to answer about her economic plans, focusing on those. I think she needs, and I think many Democrats think she needs, a broader, more comprehensive answer about how she's going to make people's lives better. She's emphasizing 2 policy proposals in particular: expanded tax credits for starting a small business and for first-time home buyers, and also for parents in the first year of life, a tax credit. But that universe of people who are directly affected by those ideas is not nearly as large as the universe of people who are concerned about what the economy has produced over the last 4 years. And I think ultimately a more both candid and comprehensive answer about what's gone right over the last 4 years, the large amount of private sector investment triggered by the IRA in clean energy and other cutting edge industries, and what's gone wrong, plus some clearer ideas about how she might make it better, is something she's almost certainly going to have to do between now and November to get those last few points she needs, particularly in the heavily blue-collar former blue wall states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, where the race will most likely be decided.
Yeah, it is so tight there. All right, Ron Brownstein, always good to see you. Thanks so much.